Today on Dr. Phil. She's in a great relationship with her co-worker, but that's not okay with her boyfriend.
Have you lied to him about where you were when you were with Josh?
Yes. Josh does have more than friends feelings for me. However, he's not going to pursue that.
He's a guy.
He's a guy.
For the first time,
I believe that I'm crossing any boundaries.
the two men meet.
You either need to commit to this relationship or get out of it. But you don't go play footsie with this guy.
Plus,
I'm obsessively controlled, and I feel like there's a touch of insanity.
I was in a 12-year relationship before Tommy and I got together. I can't even bring up my ex's name, because if I say his name, I get...
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
If it matters to you, that's what I want to talk about. Are we ready in the booth? Let's do it. Go, Dr. Phil. Well, Ricky considers him her best friend, confidant, and someone to just turn to in good times and bad. But she isn't describing her relationship with her boyfriend and the father of her 3-month-old daughter, but rather her relationship with her co-worker, Josh. There's a new phenomenon called the work spouse, a person of the opposite sex that you work closely with 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. Now think about that. You could be spending more time with that person than with your significant other. The relationship can be tricky because there's a blurry line between co-worker and too cozy. Now, has Ricky's relationship with Josh crossed this line and become part of this new phenomenon? Well, boyfriend Aaron, he sure thinks so.
Aaron is super jealous about my relationship with Josh. You haven't taken the time to get to know him.
I don't want to get to know him.
Josh and I don't have those kind of feelings.
Ricky and Josh talk every day, constantly, by phone, texting, or outside of the workplace. It makes me upset and angry.
Aaron definitely thinks that there is something going on with Josh and I, and there clearly isn't. Josh and I have a relationship that Aaron and I don't have, and I know that that's sad.
One time, Ricky was supposed to be at her sister's helping her sister move, and she ended up at a basketball game with Josh.
I know that if I were to tell him the truth, he's going to either get upset or he's going to, lash out. It's not worth it.
That makes me feel like it's a competition between Josh and I.
I don't want to have to give up my friendship with Josh, but it's seriously tearing me apart.
How am I supposed to trust you when you lie to me? How's that trust?
I'm not asking you to trust me, because whether or not I am an adult and I can do whatever I want, okay? It's an everyday battle. It's exhausting.
My biggest fear is that she'll leave me for Josh, and Josh will take over my family.
If Aaron continues with this jealous behavior, it's gonna kill me to have to walk away.
Does he have a right to be concerned here?
I think as, the father of my child, yes, he does have the right to be concerned, but we've been together for 2 years. There has to be some type of trust.
Why aren't y'all married? You fight like you're married.
I know. It's come about. He did ask me to marry him when we had Aubrey, and I said no, because if you were to go through a day with us, we can't go a day without fighting, and it just gets worse as you get married, as from what I've heard.
Well, the paperwork's not going to change whether you fight or whether you don't. And what do you think's going on here? Is she crossing the line? Is she over-involved with this guy?
I believe so. I've been lied to about where she's been. She's hanging out with him behind my back, not being honest about it.
Are you forcing her to lie to you by overreacting to innocent interactions?
Absolutely.
I don't believe so, but she feels otherwise.
Absolutely.
But there's more going on to the picture than what's being seen.
Okay, what's going on that's not being seen? Let's get it on the table.
Okay. Josh, it's been, he co-signed for our apartment. I was lied to for 4 months about that.
And with that, I should not have had to go outside of our relationship. You are the father of my child. You are my boyfriend. We've been together 2 years. If I have to go outside of our relationship and you cannot provide for me, me as myself, I have to provide.
Okay, but if my credit isn't good enough to co-sign, that's not my fault.
I don't understand why you're still going on about this. I did what I had to do. I put a roof over your head. And I don't mean to make you sound like a bad person, Aaron. I did what I had to do.
Okay, but why lie for 4 months? And that's one issue.
Because he
Okay,
said he
because
was
what you're talking about is you've got this relationship with this coworker, right?
Josh, correct.
Josh. And Josh co-signed for your apartment so you would qualify and be able to get it. You didn't know that.
No.
So you're living in an apartment that he is on the lease
Yes.
for with your significant other.
Yeah.
And that bothers you.
Very much so.
Why is Josh doing this for you?
Because I didn't want to have to go to my parents. I'm one to say 6 months pregnant at the time. I did not want them to think that Aaron could not provide for me. I'm 23 years old. I should not have to depend on my parents.
Are you living with the wrong person?
Aaron?
Yes.
No.
Should you be living with Josh?
No. But I mean, it's been brought up.
By who?
Aaron and I have gotten into some altercations that have escalated. If I were to need a place to stay while I was going to a new place, Josh gave me that option. He has a spare bedroom.
Okay, you mentioned that she's lied to you about where she is and what she's doing. And I said if you forced her to do that, I was just curious what your opinion was. You said no, you said yes.
Yes.
But now, look, you have a committed relationship here. Are you committed to him or are you kind of iffy?
As of right now, it's very iffy.
It's very iffy.
Very iffy.
Okay. Have you lied to him about where you were when in fact you were with Josh somewhere?
Yes.
You said you were going to your sister's house to help her move?
Yes.
And you went to a basketball game?
Yes, and it was not just Josh and I. There were other coworkers there. And the only reason I did that was because whenever I say I want to go do something, he has this controlling issue where he will up and leave, and it'll be me and my daughter.
Have you been to his house with just the two of you?
Yes.
And played video games and beer pong and that sort of thing?
Yes.
So I mean, I'm sorry, but that sounds to me a whole lot like a date.
I didn't even know about that.
Well, you know it now. I mean, you're going to learn a whole lot while you're here.
I think so.
His main thing is that it is a male. A male. If it was one of my female friends, he would have no problem. He'd be like, go ahead and go off and do that. But since it is a male, and it's it's a male, not just Josh, any male, mostly Josh, but it's no, absolutely not. If it was a female, which I think is sexist, by the way.
Well, it may be sexist, but I hardly think one of your female girlfriends is going to be trying to get next to you and get you into bed or get a relationship advanced. Do you think that this guy that's spending all this time with you has no designs on you beyond just, hey, buddy?
I know that Josh does have more than friends feelings for me. However, he knows that I have a relationship with Aaron. We have a daughter together. I have Aaron's child, so he's not going to pursue that.
He's a guy.
He's a guy. Thank you.
There are some rules that you need to have when you have coworker relationships. And one is you don't share personal information with them. You have boundaries and you respect that. Okay, if you have an opposite sex person, you don't go talk to them about your marriage troubles. That's crossing a line. You don't share marriage information. You don't share personal information. You don't go with them alone off-site to places like their house to drink and play video games. You don't have alcohol involved. Look, you may not like this, but those are things that lead to problems. I'm just telling you, they lead to problems.
Would it be different if it was a girl?
Yes.
Wait, why is that? Why is it that I can
Didn't we go over that a few minutes ago?
I understand that, but if we've made that I want to say commitment to not be like that, I don't understand why there's a
You've
problem.
made the commitment to not be like that.
I'm pretty sure Josh has too. That's what he told me.
Oh, well, problem solved. I got to cover something else here before we go further.
Yes, sir.
You get upset and you get intense about this.
Very.
Have you put your hands on this woman in anger?
Yes.
That's wrong.
It is.
That's wrong.
There's
I don't
more to
care
the
what
story
she
than what's been
does or
explained
what
now.
she doesn't do. You have no right to put your hands on this or any other woman in anger ever.
I understand that.
I don't care what the circumstance is. I think you're being really sensitive here. I think you're being kind of paranoid about certain aspects, but yet you do have some things here that are crossing the line that you do have a legitimate complaint about.
There's no trust anymore in our relationship.
No, well, there's not. Okay, now, look, Aaron says that he's never met coworker Josh. He's going to have that opportunity today because I'm going to ask him to join us here. We'll be right back.
Aaron wants me out of Ricky's life very badly, even to the point of issuing death threats.
Aaron thinks that Josh and I have this secret relationship going on, which we don't.
Monday.
My husband threw me away like a piece of trash.
Did you have a girlfriend?
Yes. He had a midlife crisis.
What happened? Did you just wake up stupid one morning?
So she had one too.
This man, when I met him, my legs buckled.
Did you spend the weekend with him?
I spent the week with him.
Now he wants her back.
She took up with another man, and instantly, your midlife crisis was over.
That's Monday. Then on Tuesday,
I despise the person that Kim is today.
their sister living a secret sex life.
You're posting pictures of your body beaten and bruised. Is this a fetish group?
That's Tuesday.
When Aaron gets his hands on my devices, he tells me, and it brings up fights. I have to erase my history on my computer. I've had to delete my text messages. I've had to go as far as changing the names in my phone from guys' names to girl names.
I found out that Ricky had Josh's number saved under a girl's name, Ashley. If there is nothing going on with Ricky and Josh, why is his number saved under Ashley and not under Josh?
Well, there's a phenomenon today in the current economy called the work spouse. And we're talking about people that you spend as much or more time than you might with your husband, wife, or significant other. Is that dangerous? We're adults, right? We can have opposite sex friends. Of course we can. But there is a decorum, there is a protocol, there have to be boundaries when you do that sort of thing. Now, Ricky and her work spouse, Josh, insist that their friendship is purely platonic. But is it really for both of them? Let's see what Josh has to say.
Ricky and I are very good friends. We share everything together. When there are any issues with Erin, she does come to me looking for advice or just a different perspective.
I cannot talk to Aaron about that openly and freely. As with Josh, he understands where I'm coming from, and he does not judge me on things. He is my best friend.
When Ricky and I spend time together, it's mostly just friends hanging out. Sometimes it's just watching TV, watching a movie.
I don't, go on dates with Josh. I don't get dressed up to go out with Josh. There's definitely a distinction whenever I hang out with Josh versus Aaron. Aaron definitely does not understand that.
Deep down, I do have feelings for Ricky, but I'm not acting on them because she is in a relationship.
I did tell Aaron about Josh having feelings towards me. I figured I would just get it out in the open. I think it fueled his fire towards Josh more.
Aaron wants me out of Ricky's life very badly, even to the point of issuing death threats, basically demanding that I leave him and his family alone.
Aaron thinks that Josh and I have this secret relationship going on, which we don't. Aaron has so much hatred for Josh.
I don't think it's just me that he wants out of her life. He wants everyone that she can turn to out of her life.
Okay, Josh, welcome. You've been watching the show, right?
Yes, sir.
Backstage?
Yes.
I've been talking about boundaries and definitions. Are you crossing any of those?
I don't believe that I'm crossing any boundaries other than friends.
Is there anything you want to say to him?
I don't appreciate the way you treat Ricky. I hear a lot coming from her. I've felt the death threats come from you ever since pretty much me and Ricky met. I don't like the controlling attitude. I mean, you guys should be able to trust each other. You guys do have a child together. I understand that you're a good father. I understand that you guys have to be together as far as Aubrey is concerned. However, that does not mean you're a best match for Ricky. I'm not saying that I'm the best match. I'm not even going there. All I'm saying is you can be a great father, but you treat Ricky horribly.
And you know that how?
Which part?
That he treats her badly.
One, I've heard him screaming at her when she's on the phone with me. I've heard many stories from her where he shoved her off the bed, left bruises.
Okay, so you're going and talking to him about Aaron.
Correct.
And confiding in him about your personal relationship with Aaron, your significant other, the father of your child. Do you think that's crossing a boundary with a coworker?
No, because in the year and a half that Josh and I have known each other, Josh and I, Josh is my best friend. If Josh was a girl, I think it would be fine. But since he is a male, I guess it's not. And I don't see why that is.
Okay.
I don't see where it's any of Josh's business to know what's going on between Ricky and I. I mean, it's none of his business. He has no reason to be in a relationship at the same time.
Yet it's okay for you.
I would think a man would want to step back and knowing this is bigger than just me. Like, it's affecting my whole family, the family that we're trying to build together. And I think as a man, you'd want to step back and say, look, okay, evidently something's going wrong here. Maybe I need to step out of the picture for a while, see if you guys can heal what's broken, and then maybe, you know, I can come back into the picture.
Except I have stepped back many times. There have been months that have gone by where Ricky and I have not talked, and you pick a new target. You picked her family, you've picked other coworkers, you picked other people in general in order to keep pushing people out of her life, to keep that hold on her. Okay, so the only person she has to turn to is you.
Well, what business is that of yours? No, seriously.
I have a question.
Ricky and I are co-workers. That is true. However, because of our work setup, we actually are more friends than true co-workers.
You have feelings for her, you admit, that go beyond being a friend, but you say you don't act on them because
I respect her and respect her choice to be in a relationship.
But yet you do act on them because you have a relationship with her that goes beyond just being a friend. You have a relationship where you feel protective of her. You have a relationship where she confides in you. You advise her. You give her information. You offered to go to parenting classes with her when she was pregnant.
And I say that.
True?
True.
She comes to your house and y'all drink and play video games, just the two of you together?
Not usually just the two of us.
Not usually. I don't care how usually or unusually. I'll guarantee you, I've been married 34 years. My wife has never been at somebody else's house drinking and playing video games with another guy. I mean, did I wake up in the Twilight Zone or something? Am I just too old to understand y'all?
No. I have a question. If you say that I'm not supposed to hang out with Josh as much, who am I supposed to talk to? I mean, there are certain things I cannot talk to him about because he gets jealous and he yells at me. So whenever I need to get away so I don't...
What are your girlfriends about then? I mean, ain't that what girlfriends are for and you girls talk about?
I have no doubt. Seriously, I said you're like a paranoid that really does have somebody after you because you are apparently very threatened here. You are apparently very insecure. I don't know how three people could be involved, all with a point of view, and not one of you be anywhere near correct. Let me just call roll here, okay? Let me just call roll. Let me start with you. You are overpossessive, you are insecure, you are jealous, and you are chasing her away. You are headed for an affair with him. Let me just call roll here, okay? Let me just call roll. Let me start with you. You are overpossessive, you are insecure, you are jealous, and you are chasing her away. If you are putting your hands on her in anger, that is wrong. You can't do that. You couldn't make more mistakes if they were assigned to you. You cannot do this. Do you have legitimate reasons to object? No question about it. You absolutely have legitimate reasons to be objecting to what's going on here. But your reaction to it, and in fact your contribution to it, is undeniable. You, somehow or another, you have just suspended common sense. You have just suspended common sense. You're saying, you're in a committed relationship with the father of your child. If you don't want in that relationship, get out, but you don't go play footsie with this guy. You are headed for an affair with him. In my opinion, you're having an emotional affair with him now, okay? To me, intimacy is certainly not limited to sexual interaction. To me, intimacy is when you share your innermost realities with another person. You confide in them. They know you to the core of who you are. That is something that is appropriate between a husband and a wife, a man and a woman that are committed and significant others. If you are turning to him to do this instead of him to do this, then the relationship is fractured. You are crossing boundaries in that way. If you cannot do that with him, then you either need to repair this relationship or exit this relationship, but you will not fix it by having a surrogate and a substitute here.
I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to repair it.
We'll talk about that in a minute. You're getting where you don't belong. You have said that you have feelings for her. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you have feelings for people. I get that. But she is in a relationship here, and you are creating serious conflict in this relationship by being over-involved with her. You're going on dates with her, right?
I wouldn't consider them dates, no.
Well, then one of us...
hanging out as friends, with a group of coworkers, I could understand if her and I had gone off by ourselves, got our own seats, completely alone, that I would consider a date, yes.
Okay.
But when we were with a group of other friends, all coworkers, all friends, their families, that's not a date.
That's great camouflage, but it is what it is. And you didn't have these coworkers over at your house when you had her over.
Yes, I did.
Yes, we did.
Well, okay. Guys, we'll be right back. Closed captioning provided by...
Josh co-signed for her apartment.
Ricky didn't have the established credit in order to get the place by herself, so she did ask me to co-sign for it. When Aaron found out, he was not happy.
Right now, if I need help, Aaron will say something like, oh, why don't you go have Josh help you? Josh this or Josh that.
I think Aaron took that as an insult to his manhood. My intent was to help out a friend in need.
Aaron says Ricky should confide her fears, doubts, and dreams in him and not her work spouse, Josh. And I'm calling it work spouse because it kind of defines this relationship people have with folks they spend a lot of time with. Now, to me, you two are headed for an affair. I mean, I think you're already having an emotional affair, but I think you're headed for more than that if you continue down this path. If that's okay with you, then you need to end this relationship here.
I don't understand why I cannot be friends with Josh and I cannot confide in Josh when my family is so far away. If there's for instance, where I need to get away, so we do not get in a physical altercation, where am I supposed to go? My car?
You tell me you get in a conflict with him, and so you get in your car and go to him. Are you going to tell me with a straight face that that doesn't sound inappropriate to you? That you have a conflict with your significant other and you get in your car and flee to this guy? Are you telling me that you think that that would be okay?
He's my best friend, yes.
And you also know that he has feelings for you that go beyond friendship.
Which he has kept hidden for a very long time.
But they're not hidden now, are they?
No, they're not.
And you know that?
Yes.
So you have a guy that has romantic feelings for you, and you've admitted that, correct?
The feelings, yes. The actions, no.
But you've got romantic feelings for her, so you get in a fight with him and you flee to a guy who has romantic feelings for you, and you think that is a healthy relationship dynamic?
No.
So what is it that you're confused about then?
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I mean, obviously we're not in a healthy relationship, but I'm so confused on how I'm supposed to fix it. I feel like I'm stuck in between two people that are pulling me two separate directions, and I can't do anything about it.
Okay, let me just ask you here. You said that you're caught between two people like a rope in a tug of war.
Exactly.
Okay, that doesn't sound like a friendship relationship to me.
Our friends not supposed to give you advice. They're supposed to be there when you need them.
They're not supposed to make you a rope in a tug of war.
And I've never pressured her in any way, shape, or form as far as leaving him, as far as anything.
You are a smitten kitten. You have feelings for her, right?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to mince words. You do. But she is in a committed relationship. And you need to back off and respect that. And you're saying, look, what you're doing here is you're taking away my best friend and leaving with somebody that's abusive, controlling, and overbearing. Correct. Thank you, Dr. Phil. Nice fix.
Thank you, Dr. Phil.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay. I'm telling you, you two have a child. I don't believe people stay together for the children.
No.
I don't believe that. But you do have a child here. You do have a relationship here. And you need to try to resolve this in some way, and you never, ever fix a relationship by turning away from your partner towards a third party. An interloper, never, ever helps the situation.
Not even family?
Ever. Well,
Not even family.
there are certain things that are between a man and a woman in a committed relationship, and that's where they need to be resolved. You have some problems here. Do you get that?
Yeah, I understand
You're
that.
threatened by a lot of people besides him, true?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and that's what I mean. You're like a paranoid with somebody after you. You do have somebody here that has crossed the line, crossed the boundaries, in my opinion. You may disagree, and you're certainly welcome to do that. But you are hypersensitive about this stuff, and this is like throwing salt on the wounds. You need some couples counseling, and I will make that available to you. Without that working, or if you don't want to do that, then you either need to commit to this relationship or get out of it. But you don't keep 1 foot here and 1 foot over here, which is what you're doing. That will drive you crazy.
I am going crazy.
This relationship, in my opinion, is inappropriate. This relationship is inappropriate.
Okay. What would you do if you were me? Would you tell me to stop talking to him? Like,
what I would do if I were you is I would recognize that this relationship has crossed boundaries.
Okay.
I would recognize that I need to rein this in. I would ask him to respect the boundaries of this relationship and give you an opportunity to work on it. I would not be confiding in him things about your marriage because that's inappropriate. I would not be going to his house with or without co-workers to play video games and beer pong. I would not be lying to him about going to move my sister when in fact I was going to a basketball game with him 1 week and a hockey game with him the next week. Those are dates. I don't care what you want to say. Those are dates. That's inappropriate. I would stop that behavior. I would take the help that I'm offering to arrange for you in your hometown and try to get this resolved.
You say hockey game, Dr. Phil?
Yes.
I was lied to about that, too. You told me Josh was not there. You left there so we could go dinner.
Thing.
I was totally lied about that one right after the basketball game. Then
Aaron,
we went
if
to
I
dinner
tell
afterwards.
you where I'm going, you will jet out and I will be stuck at home with Aubrey.
You need to recognize there is a pattern here. How many examples there are doesn't
There's
matter.
plenty.
You need to get some help here.
And I love her and I'm willing to do it.
Well, then you need to do that, and you need to calm down and work on this, and you need to respect their efforts to do that and give them the space to do it. Okay? Fair enough? Okay. We're moving on. My next guest, Tommy, says his partner is a little too friendly with customers at work. We're going to hear their story when we come back.
If I smiled at you wrongly, Tommy would be going. He gives me the look.
Do you give him a look?
Yeah.
He's pulled him away from talking to people.
Well, I mean, it's just I can't help being jealous. I mean, I'm petrified of being alone for the rest of my life.
Closed captioning provided by...
Tommy gets so jealous that I just lose all wits to myself.
When Andy and I get into arguments, it goes from steady arguing, yelling, screaming, and I just shut him off. He's a very vivacious, very bubbly personality, but the hugging hello, the hugging goodbye, when I see it, I feel like my head is fixed to explode.
He takes my friendliness as being flirtatious, and it's just absolutely crazy.
When he's being a little bit too touchy, the first thing I do is I tell him, I got my eyes on you.
Tommy and I have reconnected with an old friend of ours named Paul. And Paul is a childhood friend of mine. He and Tommy used to be involved. Paul has a new lover named Gino. And Gino and I just hit it off immediately.
Andy became Facebook friends with Gino.
When I'm not around Andy, I do send him texts and emails.
It's a little excessive, in my opinion.
I feel like I'm steadily being watched.
I check everything from his phone bill to his email accounts. I forbid him to ever delete anything.
I am so tired of arguing because of his jealousy.
If something is not done with the way that I deal with this jealousy, that it's going to end up destroying this relationship.
Okay, so what's going on here?
I've always had a problem with jealousy. Several relationships throughout my life has ended because of jealousy. I hate it. It's come to a point where I feel like that Andy is my soulmate, and that I need help because I don't want to end this relationship like so many before them has ended.
So you've run him off before with this jealousy.
Exactly.
You've driven him crazy before.
Exactly.
Dr. Phil,
Right.
he has ran Paul, which is Gino's lover now, of 15 years. They dated in the past, and this is why they broke up.
Now, you're currently in a relationship with Paul.
Yes.
For
We've been together 15 years.
15 years.
Yes.
You used to be in a relationship with Paul.
Many years ago. in the
Many
late
years
80s.
ago. Well, as Tommy has said, this is not the relationship he's put in jeopardy because of his jealous behavior. His ex-partner, Paul, Gino's current partner, called it quits after Tommy drove his car into a restaurant during a jealous fight. Take a look.
Tommy was jealous to the point of being obsessive.
I followed him constantly. He would call me and say, I've got to be at work this afternoon. And I would leave then and go to his house and see if he was there, and then I'd go by his job and make sure he was there. On one occasion, I was tracking him, and he tried to get away from me, and I didn't allow that.
He jumped in my vehicle as I was driving away and took control of my steering wheel, which caused me to run into the establishment where we were dining.
It was extremely childish and pretty pathetic.
After the car accident, that was the end of the relationship. It seems now that Tommy has a jealousy issue with me reconnecting with Andy, and he has a problem with Gino and Andy now having a friendship.
I'm obsessively controlling, and I feel like it's a touch of insanity.
Okay, now y'all are going to have to help me out here. I actually had to make a dance card.
I can see that.
Here, where I've got Tommy and Andy, but Tommy used to be involved with Paul, who's now involved with Gino. You're childhood friends with Paul.
Right, exactly. Right.
Okay, but you're now good friends with Gino, and you have a problem with all of it.
I am confident in who I am. I speak to everybody, and I want everyone to feel my compassion.
Are you a flirt?
No, not at all.
Yeah, he is.
Not at all.
I have to jump in and say I disagree. Andy is always been outgoing. We've known one another all the way through elementary school, all the way through high school. We've always been friends.
But y'all have never been lovers?
Never romantically involved at all.
Never even discussed
Never.
anything like that.
Tommy was the first guy that I ever dated. It was really good in the beginning, except for the controlling issues. It became more of, I didn't know whether to mind him or my mother. Type of a situation.
So why do you think you're the way he's describing you?
I really feel like I just don't have any control. It's like almost like an out-of-body experience. When something strikes me that makes me jealous, it's like it just takes over. I mean, I have no control over it.
Do you think with this hypervigilance and constant sarcastic remarks and complaints and criticisms and pouting and all the things, do you think that gives you control?
Well, at the moment I do it, yeah.
His ex-lover right before me rents a room from us upstairs.
Well, that's because we ended on good terms and we're friends.
But you wouldn't like that.
I wouldn't allow that, no.
You wouldn't like that if he was renting in with Gino.
No.
If Gino was just taking a room in the house, you wouldn't be okay with it.
Listen, I was in a 12-year relationship before Tommy and I got together. I can't even bring up my ex's name. Just seem like memories of talking of a travel that we went to or anything. I have to just act like I had gone by myself. I can't say his name because if I say his name, I get. And you know, and it just and I being as vibrant as I am, and I react to everything. Of course, I get mad as hell, and I go, how dare you with your double standards? We have a little lounge, and I'm the bar manager. I can't even as far as going behind the bar, and if you said I want a beer, if I say, hey buddy, what you want? You need a beer? And if I smiled at you wrongly, Tommy would be going.
I'm watching you. He gives me the look.
Do you give him a look?
Yeah. He's pulled him away from talking to people.
Well, I mean, it's just I can't help being jealous. I mean, I'm petrified of being alone for the rest of my life. I feel like that he is my soulmate. I want to make sure that something is done to fix this before I run him away like I have the previous.
Well, you want me to tell you how you're going to have to do that?
Yes, sir.
Well, stay here because we're going to take a break, and I'm going to do just that. Be right back. Well, I'm here with Tommy, who's dating Andy. Also here is Paul, who Tommy used to date, and Gino, who's now dating Paul, but is friends with Andy. Your hope, according to you, is that you were going to come here and I was going to straighten out his flirtatious nature.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I was going to fix him.
Nip it in the bud.
Can I jump in here, though, and say that you don't really have to have a flirtatious nature to be on the defensive end of some of Tommy's jealousness, because I wasn't doing anything when I was getting a lot of the flack from Tommy in our relationship many years ago.
I got you.
Dr. Phil, Gino and I've never met Gino until September of 2010. We immediately hit it off, and we just had that little connection. I don't talk with him outside.
Is that paying you to hear that?
No, not really. I just don't like him showing any excessive attention to anybody besides me.
So in return, you want to change my personality and who I am to adjust to what you want?
Well, and ultimately, that's what I'd like to do, but I know that's not going to. I know that's not going to work. I mean, I know that that's not going to work.
This isn't at all about your partner, is it? Because it's been about every other partner you've ever had as well. So it's not about your personality. You could change and be 10 levels below your current level of engagement and energy and vibrant interactions and all of that. And you would say that would be better, but you're certainly not that way. And he drove your car in a Cracker Barrel.
Well, and that was the thing. I felt, you know, in the beginning of the relationship, almost like it was sort of a privilege that someone wants to be involved in your life, someone who cares about you that much. You sort of take it as a compliment.
It's actually very tedious, isn't it?
Very much so.
And it wears you down. It does. And so you wind up spending a lot of time experiencing anxiety.
Exactly.
And then pouting. Because you got to let him know this was not okay. You're going to be punished now, right?
Yeah.
And so we get we get to look. Why do you put up with this? I think you teach people how to treat you. Why do you put up with this?
Well, I'm in love with him, and I want to make this work.
At this point, he says he's in love with you, but you know you're going to blow it, right? This is going to...
I feel that way.
You've got to be honest enough with yourself to say it's not about him, it's not about what Paul did, it's not about what's happening between these two, it's not about anything. This is something that comes from the inside out, and it has to do with a lack of security. It has to do with a lack of self-esteem. It has to do with a lack of self-worth. Because you have the feeling that if you don't maintain a hyper-vigilant attention and control over everything, that it's going to slip away.
That's exactly the way I
Because you're unwilling to say, you know what, I'm just going to let this unfold the way it will, and I'm going to have confidence that I have enough value and enough worth that somebody's going to be with me because they want to, not because I make them, not because I trap them, not because I got them into the web and kept them there. What you've got to be willing to do is say, I've got to stop trying to control other people and focus 100% on myself. This is an anxiety neurosis that you have, in my opinion. And if you can learn to dissipate the anxiety, if you can learn to trust yourself enough to let some rope out and say, wow, people didn't run away, you're going to feel like you won the lottery.
Well, see, that's what I want. I mean, that's what I want. I just don't feel like that I can do it. I mean, I've tried to do it. I've tried to just sit back and say, okay, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to, bring it up. I'm not going to, do the watching you thing. And it's just like I can't.
Okay.
I can't.
There's a difference. What you're doing is what I call white knuckling. You know, that's like somebody that says they're sober. You know, they haven't had a drink for 3 weeks and they're clawing the end of their chair. They haven't really dealt with the addiction. They're just white-knuckling through. That's what you're doing, right? You say, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let him go over there and talk to him, and I'm going to just sit here and not say anything.
Exactly.
And the whole time you're going, and he's feeling like, my God, is he in a seizure? Okay. That's not healing. What we've got to do is you got to quit being defensive about this. Go inside and learn how to manage this anxiety. I will arrange that for you to give you that physiological control where when you feel that coming on, you can push it away. And I'm going to tell you, in a very short period of time, you can turn this around if you're willing to do the work. Are you willing to do the work?
I'm very willing.
I mean, really, you got to be.
Sir.
You got to quit trying to justify it. Quit trying to defend it. Quit trying to explain it. Just acknowledge that the problem is yours, not theirs, and take the help and get this anxiety under control.
Please.
You'll do that.
Please.
Really?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Well, we're going to follow up with you guys and find out what happened. We'll be right back. Seriously, this will turn around. Take with me. Scan the flow code now. Just open your camera, aim, and click the link to get exclusive content as a Dr. Phil fanatic. We have a plan, right? And we're going to meet with you backstage and talk about it. We have a plan for you guys, right?
Yes.
And you're going to give them the space to do that, right?
Of course.
Okay. Well, we're going to track these stories and let y'all know what happens. Thanks for being here. So long.